everybody. This is Alexander A. Manzoni with Manzoni in the morning. Hey, everybody. It's been too long. Real long time. It's Alexander Manzoni coming out to you live, pre-recorded, and loud. Whew, these past 7 months have been a wild ride. We moved from Brown's Addition to a new neighborhood in North Spokane, nice little suburban neighborhood, where nothing bad ever happens, at least until we moved in. It's been very difficult, what with all the quarantining and all that. Just trying to do anything. Going out, having fun, buying some fucking toilet paper, some fucking groceries. But you won't see me being pissed off about a fucking mask here. No. And you won't see me shaming people too much. Well, I hope not. I haven't read over some of these poems since I wrote them, so maybe I do, maybe I don't. I don't know. I say a lot of shit. And I will continue to say a lot of shit. So what have I been doing lately? I have been concentrating on finishing my novel, Judge, Coach, and Executioner, the story of a prison guard captain who has been damned to hell to watch over a prison of the world's history's worst serial killers and spree killers and psychopathic madmen. And while he's there, they talk him into being a coach for a baseball team, and it ends up being the women versus the men, and we got all the women serial killers through history, which I didn't know a lot about, but I wanted to, and then I did, and I found out that while not as numerous, the female serial killers are definitely interesting, and they're definitely a threat on the ball field, on the diamond. Now, you might think, oh, Alex, I didn't know you were a baseball fan. I'm not particularly. I enjoy a game with the family if something's going on. Like I used to like watching the Phillies with my mom and my grandpa. But no, I was always very awkward in school. So when I did try to play sports, aside from soccer, it usually ended up with me getting hit in the face with a ball and quitting. So I wrote this book, and it all happened organically. Like I didn't go out of my way and say, oh, I'm going to pick a book. I'm going to make a book about baseball. No, it wasn't like that. It started out more as like, I'm going to write a book about prison in hell. And then I started thinking, ooh, you know what would be funny? Is if they were playing something. Especially since every goddamn prison movie, just about, especially the comedic ones, have some sort of like sports event. Let's not forget Stir Crazy had the rodeo. I'm drawing a blank on the other ones, but there is another one. I think they played baseball at Shawshank. I can't remember. Don't quote me on that. So I've been doing a lot of research on all these killers, madmen, super assholes, and I'm totally making fun of them in this book. Now you might say to yourself, Alex, serial killers, these crimes they've committed, you're making light of a horrible chapter in American or in world history, a horrible chapter in people's lives. What about the victims? And don't think I forgot about the victims. So like I bring the victims in for the show. I mean, I have like oh, you'll have to see. But I rest assured the victims get their chance to get a little teeny bit of revenge and payback against the serial killing asshole motherfuckers. Now, I have been writing poems, and I started when the quarantine began, and I wrote a poem a day, and I said to myself, I'm going to write a poem a day until the quarantine ends, and I did more or less because it did end, but I think we're going right back there, right back to Shitsville, USA. As people are getting sick, like there's 13,000 new cases in Florida Luckily, there's like less than I don't know 70 a day in Spokane or something. It is climbing, but it's not as bad. You know, there's a lot of these white folks that are in this false sense of security because they're so used to being told not to believe anything, that everything is a conspiracy against them, and that nothing ever bad will ever happen to them because they're white and in America and in suburbia, etc. Well, guess what, you fucking idiots? Shit has hit the fan, and shit is continuing to hit the fan. They drove a septic truck back up to up to the biggest fucking fan you could ever see, and they just pumping the shit directly into it, spraying out. It's like, it's horrible. We're gonna have to either deal with this or die trying. And you know what? I don't want to be known as a victim from Trump's presidency. So many of my friends have died, more so recently, but every like 4 to 6 months, more overdose deaths. And what do I attribute that to? People losing hope. Hope for reality. Hope for the world around them. Hope for their family and friends. But what do I know? Some people at Twitter have accused me of being a paid crisis actor, which is funny because I don't get paid for shit. You know, I do this all for free so far. I mean, come on. I'm just hoping in the future that I'll be able to sell these books. Like I printed out my manuscript. Hold on. Let me show you. Now, for the people listening on Anchor, this I have in my hands is the Spokane Story. 210 pages of insanity. I've printed it out for my buddy and colleague, Dennis Held, who had said that he was willing to edit it. And because of this quarantine and everything being crazy, I haven't actually been able to get it over to him yet, but it's on my to-do list. So it's insane. I got it done at Staples. I know I normally would have used a local place, but it was just easier to go online and just send them the file and print this out. It was like $35. Now, this is just one book. And Judge, Coach, and Executioner. Now, this one's 210 pages. Now, mind you, it's only printed on one side of the page. But Judge, Coach, and Executioner is 479 pages as of now. And it's still going. We're at the 7th inning stretch. And boy, shit gets fucking nuts around then. I mean, the whole fucking thing is a wild ride of insanity. Some people will probably say, you never turn it off. You know, you never, everything's always at 110%. Let's say, hope not. But it's an interesting read. And it's controversial. It's sickening. It's deliberately sickening. I love William S. Burroughs, and Nick at Lunch was one of the most offensive things I'd ever read, which I never got to finish because both times I was on heroin and I lost a goddamn book somewhere, one on the bus, went somewhere else. So I never got to finish it. But it really stuck with me, the fantastical scenes of just orgiastic insanity. Wow. It was just nuts. So I always wanted to make something like that. And, you know, one of the best ways to get your stuff known is to be controversial and piss people off. And I'm doing a good job right here, I believe, because people are going to be pissed. They're not going to like it. But some people, the really dark, twisted motherfuckers, they'll love it, I feel like. So, on the other hand, this book, The Spokane Story, a lot of I can't wait till the local newspapers get their hands on this thing, because they'll be listing things like, what the Spokane Story got wrong about Spokane. Well, guess what, folks? I spent a lot of time, 3 months on the streets here, talking to random motherfuckers and getting caught up in weird fucking schemes and people trying to rip me off and meth heads tweaking just a tweak. A little bit of fucking all kinds of shit. Just most of the I'd say a good portion of the scenes in the book are based on something that happened to me, like when this lady borrowed my pants and I encountered her in the grocery store. and she wouldn't give. She was wearing my pants still, and I tried to get her to give them back, and she fucking screamed at me and threw her shoes at me. Which goes to show you, if you're sleeping under a bridge and other people come down to join you when they're freezing, don't give them your pants if you don't expect them back. Now, normally I wouldn't have cared much, but those were the only pair of sweatpants I had at the time. So when I came here in 2014 from Newfield, New Jersey, only had a couple fucking duffel bags, a backpack, and just a dream. And once I got here and went to the streets and saw all the craziness, and it occurred to me that I must do whatever possible to get the fuck out of this lifestyle before it gets any worse. And I did. And I worked my way up to a shitty little apartment, and I worked my way up to a better apartment. Now we're at this house, and the house is fucking insane. But I'm not going to go into too many details about what's going on around here, because I don't think you're going to want to hear it. But rest assured, I gave up some problems and got a whole slew of new ones. On the plus side, though, my garden is doing pretty well so far. So I got my teeth taken out the other day. Got 2 taken out. One reason I haven't done the podcast is because I've been miserable, ill, sick with an abscess. So I got my hyperthyroidism, Graves' disease. I've got my bipolar disorder. I got my fucking anxiety, panic attacks. I've got arthritis. And I had abscess. I have a fucking toe that gets infected all the time. There's a lot of different things to address. Now, normally a normal person would have not much of a problem addressing these issues. They just do it one at a time. But me, I'm a little crazy. And people look at me and they say, you seem normal. That's because I've been trained well as a human by my parental unit. Thanks, Mom. So I know how to talk to people, to be polite, and make them feel good and respectful. So they think, oh, this guy's fine. I internalize this shit. When I see people, I just usually don't want to ruin their day. So I'll be like, hey, how you doing? They'll say, oh, good. How are you doing? I'll say, oh, okay. Well, or pretty good. I mean, compared to the life I used to live where, with all the damn tweakers and madmen and heroin addicts and stuff, yeah, I guess I am doing good. But it doesn't mean I'm not in a constant state of annoyance. And I'm so tired from my illness. And I'm always running out of like one medication at a time. And it's just brutal. So after like a year of bullshit, I finally went to the dentist and got a bunch of cavities filled and the teeth out. But this one was driving me nuts as people were coming up and telling me, hey, you've got some shit in your teeth. And just like pointing it out. Because I love how America has such bad teeth, but they love to point out people with teeth problems, even if they themselves have shit teeth to begin with. So one thing I do is I try not to fucking insult people because they have bad dentistry. Because, of course, if you have your teeth are jacked, what are you going to do about it? There's only so much you can do. And it's taken a lot. Like I had to get my therapy office to call around town to find a place that would take new patients. So I've been here for 6 years with Medicaid, full dental coverage, and haven't been able to get shit done except get teeth pulled out because the dentists don't want to fucking take new patients. So people just say, well, just suck it up and just keep calling around. Like, what do you do? Yeah, I hit a fucking wall. So I'm very thankful. The Frontier Behavioral Health, in their program they've got. So if you're dealing with mental issues and you have trouble making appointments for your health, perhaps contact them and get involved, and they should be able to help you. There's one thing I've always had trouble doing is asking for help. My mental health, my drug addictions, my alcoholism, my anxiety. I usually just internalize it until it comes out at an inappropriate time, blowing up. And then everyone says, whoa, how could you possibly act like this? You're so rude. You're such a jerk. You're an asshole, Alex. They don't really talk like that, but that's my impersonation of them. Fucking bullshit. So yeah, I got 2 teeth taken out, and they gave me a few opioids, and on the bottle, it said, danger, risk of overdose and death with a skull and crossbones. And I couldn't agree more, you know. I mean, I thought it was a little bit unsettling, but, you know. So this is one of the first times I've ever taken a medication like that as prescribed. And even took even less than I was supposed to. So today was the last one. And I figured, well, I'll take advantage of this energy and I will go and do at least the beginnings of a podcast. And maybe an entire one, who knows? Because I've been in discussions with Mr. Matt Barnes, one of my best friends from New Jersey, to try to set up a Zoom conference call, which I'll record and then try to have like one of my first real guests on Manzoni in the morning. Now, I don't know how well the sound will come out, especially on his end. I'm not expecting much. So I think we should better do a test run before we commit to a full-on, like, hour-long thing where I'm going to get to the end and say, oh, my God, this isn't going to work. I'm going to have to throw it all out. Because there's been a lot of times where I recorded a podcast and then got to the end and realized that something having to do with the sound usually just didn't add up. And so I had to just get rid of the whole fucking thing. And I'm a very sensitive person, so when I have to delete a whole podcast, it's like ripping a piece of my soul out and flushing it down the toilet. So let's get to some poetry. Here's one of my newest poems. This is called, Thanks a Lot, Mr. Trump. Riots all over America. The president stoked the flames. Now the riots spill out into the streets all over America from east to west. People are getting tear gassed, beaten, while Trump runs off to his bunker to hide. May this be the writing on the wall in regards to what shall happen in November. End the reign of terror. Chop off the dictator's metaphorical dick. White supremacists stalk the street, boogaloos armed to the teeth starting fights. While the police have their back, they're quick to attack anyone brown or liberal. Because, in all honesty, many of these crooked cops and white power fucks are complete assholes. This is Trump's America, burning, cars aflame, buildings smashed. Broken, busted Apple Store, Wendy's, and Target franchises, broken dreams, crushed spirits, outrages, birth, lost, and found anew. Lives play out over the course of a few tweets. This needs to change. More police and government oversight. More accountability. If someone commits a crime, they should pay for it, instead of being pardoned by a gilded criminal crime boss. And they're laughing all the way to the bank. All the while, those in the streets, they demand justice for the life of one George Floyd and all the others whose lives were so savagely and unjustly taken from them and their families. Black lives do matter. White crimes matter. And they, up to and including the vile, evil, geriatric, hellspawn, demon, Nazi president, need to pay. So I used to go to a lot of the local, well, not a lot, but a few of the local protests. But something about the ones more recently, I just had like a really bad feeling about. And because I'd had some white power motherfuckers like messaging me on, trying to call me out on Facebook, messaging me on Twitter and that kind of shit, like bad, nasty comments, I decided that I might be putting my family in danger if I did continue to go to these rallies and be visible towards them. So a lot of folks I knew did go to the local protests where the police fired off tear gas and rubber bullets and shot people that, you know, with the rubber bullets that were just like sitting there or just like sitting on a fence or doing nothing. People who were driving by ended up getting tear gas in their cars, and a lot of people suffered. And that's fucking ridiculous. I'm so fucking disappointed in them. You know, I mean, everyone's protesting, or most people are protesting, the police brutality the unaccountability, the crookedness of this system. And what do they do in response? They initiate more brutality, and they think that they're going to just stifle us by beating us down and threatening us and intimidating us. Well, guess what, motherfuckers? America ain't having it. We're coming back. I think it's just interesting that they use so much force against the Black Lives Matter protests, while a little while before they had the white nationalists protesting the stay-at-home order. They're walking the streets with their guns and stuff and like fucking causing trouble and intimidating people, and nothing happened. Nothing. Which is what leads me to believe, which I indicate in my poem, that I think that white power leaders are at the highest echelons of our police department, the police unions, in our government. You know, there's just people who are just waiting for helter skelter. The race war between the blacks and the whites, popularized by Charles Manson, will finally begin, and they will have the perfect chance to beat as many brown people as they can into the dirt and stick their knees on their neck and break it and then eat their souls because they're demons. Now, that's not to say every cop is horrible. I mean, granted, most of the cops I've seen that have responded to these protests on Twitter have done so in a manner that I found reprehensible or ignorant. But there's like one or two cops that actually I've seen some of their posts, and they have been very cool about all this, and they understand. Like, I saw that in Camden, New Jersey, they had like the cops were protesting with the protesters. And that's one of the most violent cities in America. In fact, it was the most, like, the murder capital of the United States a year or two back when I used to frequent to go get my drugs. So if they can do it in Camden, why can't they do it everywhere else? Although, admittedly, more of the population in Camden is black and Latino than it is out here. Like, people just think that, I mean, there's strength in numbers. So, like, the more white people you get in one area, the more they're comfortable being racist and expressing themselves, all thanks to the Führer president, who was just trying to get us all fired up. And instead of protecting the Americans, 130,000 dead from this fucking virus, he wants to go on about Confederate statues and trying to call out Bubba Wallace because this fucking FBI cover-up bullshit where they're saying that the noose in the fucking garage was there for a long time. Yeah, right. The Justice Department is crooked. I don't fucking trust a thing they say because Trump just says what he wants and they just do it. That fucking William Barr should be barred from the government. He should be barred from the public sphere. He should be tarred and feathered. And yes, I know that rhymed. Controversy. And I'm not going to entertain the people who comment on my stuff looking for arguments. I just don't have the energy to deal with this shit anymore. Like, on Twitter, I just hit the mute button. On Facebook, I just hit turn off notifications. I do a lot of comments on the local news and websites and social media pages, and there's always some freaking right-winger that wants to try to get into an argument with me and be like, oh, well, it's all a conspiracy. Remember Benghazi. Make America great again. It's like, fuck you, you fucking pile of shit. It's been tough, especially since a lot of people I used to hang out with frequently are now Trump lovers and Trump apologists. And, yeah, I mean, they might be on my Facebook, but I'm not really talking to them. If I do, it's not much. And if they do, I definitely don't bring up politics for one reason or another, and I just don't get it. I really don't get it, because back the day, I remember when when Bush got elected, nobody fucking cared. Nobody fucking went out and voted or really gave a shit. And then when it happened, he got reelected. I thought it was the worst thing that ever happened to America. Boy, was I fucking wrong. So now everyone fancies themselves a political expert. It's hard for me to ignore it because I spent 7 or 8 months doing as a political correspondent for headlinepoetry.com until we separated ways inamicably due to just some disagreements. Yeah. So I'm not with them anymore, despite the fact that my new short story, which is published on Coffin Bell Journal, you should look that up on Google, my story Snowblind, and it says that I'm still a political correspondent, but I'm not. So, Snowblind. I wrote this story 6 years ago, maybe 7. It was a bad winter, and it was snowing everywhere. I'd worked in construction doing a little bit of snowplowing work, and then I was like shoving people's driveways where my boots were in such a state that I put plastic bags over my feet to do it. And why did I do it? Because I needed money. And what did I need money for? Alcohol and cocaine. So while I was high, I came up with the idea for this story, which is like a couple rednecks from New Jersey. They go and are called out to plow out this guy's driveway, and he lives out in the forest in the Pine Barrens, and he's an old Klan guy, white power motherfucker from like ages ago. He's like in his 80s, and they start encountering ghostly activity while they're out there and getting high, and they don't know whether it's the cocaine or if it's real. And it's interesting, and I'm really glad that they published it, because this was the first time one of these websites has accepted one of my short stories. I've had tons of poems published, but my stories always seem to be rejected, which I understand, because like I write about a lot of really weird subjects, and they're difficult to place. Like the Spokane Story, finding a publisher for that is going to be difficult, and I understand. A comedy about drug addict, homeless people running around and causing trouble in society and things like that. And yeah, it's pretty rough, but you know what? You got to write. The heart wants what the heart wants, and I wanted to write about that stuff, to deal with the emotional issues I was experiencing, having been dropped headlong into the streets of Spokane, just like sink or swim, motherfucker. And I had a choice. I could either get up on my feet, or I could be like so many of the people I was with and just succumb to the looming specter of methamphetamine and heroin addiction, which after doing a little bit of both, a lot of bit of the second one, a little bit of the first one, I made a decision that that's not the kind of lifestyle I wanted to live, and I didn't like the way it made me feel. That's the way meth works. It makes you feel horrible, but it also makes you want to do it over and over and over and over again. So my recommendation is to not do meth ever. Just stay away from that stuff. And even if you have ADD, well, I'm not going to say anything about that, but like they still give meth out for ADD people in some cases. I don't know. Maybe there's some guy where the meth really makes them good. Who the fuck knows? So shit's been crazy and everyone's pissed off. I was so fucking worn down from all this crap happening all the time. Oh my God. So here's another poem. Gnawing. Quarantine day 45. Gnawing. The feeling. It exists at the pit of the stomach. It grows exponentially by the moment. And neither pharmaceuticals, nor extracts, nor tinctures, nor elixirs can serve to alleviate what troubles me. Is it physical, or is it something else, something deep within? I wish to exit my skin and live a life that I never thought to be possible. Do everything that every person who ever encountered told me I couldn't do. Where is my truth? Is it inline guts awaiting the inevitable alien autopsy? This darkness, this evil, it gnaws at me. It tries to convince me that life would be better served elsewhere, not on this planet anyway. It wants me to be impulsive, compulsive, destructive, while it obstructs my viscera. The gnawing, biting, shredding, grinding. 'Tis only a matter of time before I become transparent. Whenever a light bright so shines upon me, I am gnawed from within. By what? Rats. By parasites. By my own anatomy. Why don't you tell me? Thank you. Yep. So I was doing a poem a day for a while, and then I just kind of like lost it, the feel for it. But here's another one. Quarantine day 39, 30 poems in 30 days. Today's the last day of National Poetry Writing Month. This challenge, one of many, has passed into memory. When April of next year rolls around, hopefully I'll be able to look back and determine that, yes, this situation, 'twas only temporary. May these moments, this pain, this depressive spiral into the maelstrom mouth of madness not linger too long. May we find it within ourselves to persevere, to be stronger than we never thought possible. Like TRUMP, may coronavirus find itself to one day be a dirty word. One that causes folks to turn their heads and stare if they hear it alight upon their oral senses. 30 poems in 30 days, and I'm still counting the days left till I die. Though notably, I should be counting the days I have survived. This next one is a poem about the daybreak outpatient program that I used to go to. It was kind of like what I thought of it as like the a daycare for the mentally ill. And when I was on probation, I was forced to attend all kinds of therapy sessions and things like that. And I got shuffled around a lot of places and ended up there. And I didn't like it very much. They greet you first thing in the morning with a drug test. It's like, that's not the kind of day I want to have. You spend it, you like be there for like 6 or 7 hours. It's like school. Daybreak was the name of an outpatient therapy program I once attended. It was a hollowed out restaurant turned day program for the mentally disturbed. Sorrow and rejection permeated the walls for one and for all. Daily drug tests prescribed for the reprobates. A chill goes up my spine while I ponder pissing in plastic cups, waiting for the message. You have failed. Failed at life. Failed at this test. THC, it got me, and this so happened repeatedly. No longer do I have to worry about missing medical transportation. Those drivers, they showed up whenever they felt like it. Banging on my door, on my window. On some days I hid from them. Their time wasted, though mine as well. Can't you tell that I wasn't built for this? As of a year or two ago, some of the attendees from my memory were still going. 'Twas amazing to me that anyone could commit to such a program for so long, though admittedly most of them had little choice in the matter. I wonder what happened to them, especially now in the time of coronavirus. The old restaurant, now empty, presumptively rots into memory. The home for raccoons and, ironically, drug addicts breaking through the windows to get at the sweet, sweet treats inside. Dry Kirkland granola bars, cereals, prepackaged juices that leave a strong taste of metal upon the tongue. This is the seamless galactic void. Today I awoke later than usual. Did not get around to writing until almost 7 o'clock. Was it because I was finally having a nice dream? Maybe. Confusion sows its seeds deep within thine brain. Never do I know for sure what to do or where to go. Will the stars on this planet finally realign, or like the rest of the universe, they do to continue their expansion? They reach outwards, away from one another until their former neighbors are little more than minuscule specks, dying out slowly at the far reaches of the seamless galactic void. All right. Next one. Quarantine day 35. Dreaming and screaming. The light hurts my eyes. I wish I could say why. An unexpectedly late night writing as opposed to the usual early morning affair. But what are words when they themselves are blurred? These letters fall apart at the seams. It seems to do so, atom by each individual singular atom. No, I am not on psychedelic hallucinogens. Not today, anyway. And not while this fucking pandemic is going on so long. Either way, it's hard to see the screen. Perhaps this is the beginning of another terrifying dream. Oh, why am I so preoccupied with sleep when many of my greatest enemies lie in wait there for me? I want to close my eyes, but I don't want to die again either. I am dreaming and screaming silently. Mouth agape, I'm struggling for breath, struggling to scream. When I am able, I shall return to the land of the living, where life will conceivably be continuing. This one is at the starting line of a new race, quarantine day 36. I'm starting to become callous in regard to the pandemic panic outside. The days have run together, running, until they have thus become entangled, a temporal daisy chain to nowhere. I still have yet to meet someone who has actually caught the virus, though numerous accounts on my timeline know a person who knows a person who has either had it, has it, or has died from it. The danger is either overblown or understated. Still, much of the world remains closed, and we don't know when life will again regain its previous foothold. That perhaps it shan't. Perhaps we are at the starting line of a new race. A race comprised of rules and routes unfamiliar to our 2020 sensibilities. I have to say that since then, I have known somebody who, the virus is getting closer. Like, it's not one of my direct friends, but there's like friends of friends that have had to get tested. So wear your goddamn mask. Wash your fucking hands. Be conscious of how close you are to people, and just respect people's just personal space. Just do it. You should be doing it all the time, but people just want to get right up on your shit. Just be up on you and just breathing on your neck. They see how people like talk to each other in movies and shows where their like faces are like this close to each other. Like, oh, well, let me tell you something. Who the fuck talks to that close to each other? I don't want someone breathing in my face like that, smelling of their fucking coffee breath. Fuck that. Next poem is about my nightmares. My nightmares, which have gotten worse lately. A lot of my poems have nightmares at some of them. That's because I deal with them like every night. I've had to get a dental guard from biting down in my sleep. So I bite down so hard that I break my teeth, I cut myself, and I'll have blood in my mouth. Like, I wear this dental guard, I wake up the next day, there's blood in it. So it's rough, man. I have a lot of dreams where I'm being suffocated, strangled, chased, but more recently it's been suffocated, and I'll get like sleep paralysis where I'll wake up like in the early morning and then not be able to move. I feel like I'm being like just unable to breathe, and it's just a horrible feeling. I wish there was some way to deal with it. When I was 13, I was trying to kill myself back then. I was so depressed, and I didn't have a sliver of the health problems and pain that I do now. And now I'm trying to live and trying to do what I can, because what is all this worth, all this work on these novels, if I'm not going to be able to pay, it's not going to pay off someday. I've got the Spokane Story 1, Spokane Story 2. I wrote like a third of Spokane Story 3. I'm almost finished American Carnage, and I'm almost finished Judge, Coach, and Executioner. That's enough books to fucking, take care of me for a little while whenever they get sold off, as long as I don't get screwed. Please don't screw me. Please. Please. I'm not going to jump into some crazy deal or contract just because I'm desperate, even though I might be. Do whatever I can to save up and get the fuck out of here and live my own life on my own terms with my beautiful girlfriend, Sophia. And the only people I fucking have to deal with would be like my mother and the cat and my brother and a handful of other people from the arts and poetry community. Because one thing's for sure, I get taken advantage of a lot in personal relationships. That's why I don't like to make friends too much, because people try to take control of me and make me do stuff. And there's times where it was horrible, and there's stuff that I don't even want to talk about that people tried to force me into doing, and it's very traumatic. And so I'm always on guard because, like, people I'd buy drugs from off the street, they'd even want to come. Everyone wants to fucking come move in with me. And they're like, oh, you got any room on your couch, man? I was like, I just met you 10 minutes ago. You think I'm going to let you move into my apartment? You fucking scumbag. And then there was, like, Mario, R.I.P., and Chris Cannon, who got kicked out of their sober house in 2008 and showed up to my apartment because I'd moved out of that sober house because it was a pain in the balls. And they ate me out of house and home. They promised me that they were going to pay me and that they were going to buy food and all that kind of happy shit. So, like, on the day they were supposed to make a nice shark dinner, yes, we had specified shark or swordfish, they got drunk while I was at work and got arrested in front of my apartment and just left my door open, left all my lights on, left the TV on. And then they called me up later on like, I'm sorry, can we come back? And I didn't fucking want them back. So I made that move out, and when they did so, the guy, Nick Cannon, or Chris Cannon, not Nick Cannon, he tried to steal my goddamn Sopranos DVDs. I saw him in his bag. I was like, fuck that. I'm taking this shit back, motherfuckers. I swear these fucking people, they are always trying to steal from me and do that kind of shit. And you know how you keep people from stealing from you? Don't let them in your house. Don't let them near you. At the same time, it's kind of rough not having a lot of close friends. I have my Pathfinder group, but, you know, aside from, like, Barnesy, I don't talk to anybody on the phone. I was like, talk to my mother, Barnes, sometimes my dad, my therapist. Yeah. It's funny because I've got over 7,000 followers across all the social media platforms, but it just goes to show that follower number doesn't indicate closeness of relationships or any of that stuff. You know, that's just my public persona or whatever. Ugh. Social media nano influencer, which I think is like someone who has like 1,000 to 10,000 followers, and they tell people, review things and tell people this or that. And, I mean, lately I've been doing a lot of the taking pictures when I have nice dinners or go out somewhere. Because one of the few things I get really excited about, aside from writing, is food. So when we went to the High Tide Lobster Bar, my mother sent me to go pick it up, and we got these famous lobster rolls that we've been talking about for like a year and haven't been able to get because they either sell out or they're closed early. And so, I had to get a picture of that because it was a awesome moment for me anyway. I'm a very sensitive individual, so what seems like nothing to you seems like the world to me. And that's just how I live, you know. My whole day can be ruined by just one little tiny thing, insignificant thing that most people would just not even think about. And a lot of people tell me to just push everything, put it aside, you know. Oh, just be normal, just be good, just shut up and buck up. And like, do you know what's going on inside of my brain? Do you have any fucking idea? No, you don't. You have no fucking clue because you have never lived in this. Never had the damn obsessive thoughts that don't stop and having a different, waking up just feeling like you're on fucking drugs when you're not. Goddamn mania, goddamn depression. I think I'm slipping from mania to depression right now, so I'm trying to take advantage of it before I don't want to do shit anymore. Because that's mainly what I do with that is I just have no energy to do anything. And so shit keeps piling up until I become super depressed, and I just don't want to deal with it. Like, the clothes are always piling up. Now I got my garden, so there's fucking my plants will start dying. Dishes piling up. I mean, I got a shout out to all of the housewives across the world because taking care of a house is a fucking chore. And just taking care of a household, you know, keeping everybody fed and keeping shit together, keeping everything in its proper place. It's not fucking easy. And I'm just counting down the days until I sell my novels and stuff where I can get myself a nice maid or something. Because we want to have kids soon. And I think that would be the best way to go. Like, I don't think I could handle too much more added stress to my life and just People love to saddle me with extra shit. Like, oh, here, you have plenty of time on your hands. Here's something else you can do. Like, you son of a bitch. Oh, I understand where, people have their hearts in the right place. But sometimes their head's so far up their ass, they can smell their own breath. The podcast. How long has it been? It's been very long. I think the last one was before Christmas. I've just haven't had the energy to do this. I've been spending my extra energy, like when I wake up in the morning, I do some laundry, wash the dishes, which I do. I do all like chores like as early as I can to avoid watching the news, which Sophia watches every weekday religiously, which is cool because like for a while I was doing the political correspondent thing, so I felt obligated to watch the news. But now I'm just kind of like, I don't want to deal with this shit anymore. So I'll go clean the cat box instead of listening to fucking Trump shitting out of his mouth about some bullshit again. Honestly, that's what America should do. It's like he starts talking and go shovel some shit. It's symbolic. Here I am podcasting, trying to survive, trying to get through all this. Thought that the quarantine was only going to last like a month or two and everything will work out. And instead it got worse, a lot fucking worse. And now we're just standing around trying to pick up the pieces. And America's just getting worse and worse and worse. They want to take away the extra money they are given for unemployment benefits. They didn't give a second fucking stimulus bill for the poor people. They should have really did that. Like if Canada is giving $2,000 a month to all the citizens, they could have really fucking did that. But how would they have been able to pay for all the tax breaks for people like Jeff fucking Bezos and all those other motherfuckers, all those rich capitalist industrialist cuntwad motherfuckers? I hate them so much. Like with fucking Kanye throwing his fucking MAGA hat into the ring. Oh yeah, he's running for president to actually run for president. The mentally ill, bipolar idiot who is probably taken advantage of by our president, who has probably put him up to it, saying, the blacks are going to vote for Biden, so I got an idea. If you run for president too, he'll soak up enough votes where I should be able to prevail, especially in certain districts where we redraw them every 5 minutes and get rid of all the polling places to keep the blacks out. Kanye. He's being manipulated. That's a fact of the matter. Like, I can't blame him too much because he's in more or less he's probably crazier than me, but I understand like the becoming delusional and becoming convinced that a certain thing is a certain way and then having to feeling like an urge to do something about it. Maybe he really thinks that Trump's got him, is in his corner. Fact of the matter is, he just wants the black votes. Blacks for Trump. How could Kanye keep standing up for this man when he's supporting the Confederacy and just this white power nationalist gangs and all that? How blind do you have to be? How fucking blind do you have to be to look at that and say, oh, okay. So even if you do agree with his economic policy, yeah, you're rich, so of course you're going to be like, yo, that guy's going to cut my taxes. The Democrats are going to take my money. I know I'm a millionaire, but I could be 100 millionaire. I could be a trillionaire if I really tried. You cut my taxes enough. It's just funny that all the fucking local businesses suffered and have to take out these loans where they're going to have to pay money back, while fucking Walmart and Amazon profited off of this goddamn quarantine and have been making money hand over fist. And they don't fucking have to pay normal taxes like the rest of us, even though as a corporation, they are legally considered citizens, human beings. They're taxed like humans. And I don't understand that. And I think things are going to either change or, shit's going to blow up. There's going to be some revolution. I mean, it looks like the right-wing nationalists are already gearing up for it. They kind of want it to happen. And then on the other side, we got all these people who really just want to are so fed up with everything that they're willing to riot and just bust the windows out of the Apple store and set cop cars on fire. And I understand, because they feel like their voice isn't being heard, and when it is, it's being dismissed, which is what all these fucking goddamn white newscasters do on these fucking news channels like Fox News and all that bullshit. just dismiss everything. Oh, Black Lives Matter is a terrorist hate organization. It's a terrorist movement. Antifa, Antifa. I know a lot of fucking liberals, and I've yet encountered one person identifying as a member of Antifa. It's all goddamn fucking boogeyman that they cook up. You know, it was terrorists before, now it's Black Lives Matter, and the liberal media trying to control your mind by shaming you into wear a mask. We don't know. But that's how Trump succeeded. He made everyone question the reality of everything they saw or heard, and so that so many people don't listen to anything they hear anymore. They immediately just say that must not be real because that's too crazy. And I found myself being affected. But, you know, like places like CNN, they kind of dug their own grave a little bit by making these super clickbaity articles and then jumping the gun on a bunch of stuff where like a day or two later it would come out that it was not the way that they said it was, and it really destroyed their credibility. So they need to fucking go back to the basics of journalism. Although, admittedly, it's pretty difficult in this day and age because the fucking dictator du jour motherfucking put his iron boot down anywhere he can. You know, as much as I wanted Bernie to be president, I'm perfectly fine with Biden at this point. You know, even if he becomes a gibbering mess, unable to talk or think for himself after getting elected, because I would rather have a bowl of Jell-O than this motherfucking toupee wearing piece of shit from hell. I haven't finished my American Carnage novel simply because I wanted to see how this presidency ends before I come up with an ending. A lot of it, pretty much the whole novel is kind of like based on stuff that's happened since 2016 and my take on it and like how I see like how America's going to play out in the future. And it's really funny. It's funny as fucking hell. And it's strange trying to find humor in all this because there's not a lot to be happy about or to smile about or to laugh about. But it seems like humor pops up in my work whether or not I want it to, despite the fact I'm not a joke-telling type. Like, if you said, be funny, I'd be like, what the fuck do you want from me? Because I did an open mic at the Spokane Comedy Club a while back, and it was pretty cool. I did one of my characters, but I kind of like thought it was really stressful, especially since people in comedy audiences feel entitled to insult you and just try to make the whole set be about themselves. And I mean, they do that sometimes when I'm reading poetry, but not quite so much. So a little bit more respectful. Usually when I'm reading poetry, they're just looking down at their fucking phone like, that's a message to you who look at your phones all during people's performances. Can you pretend to not be doing that? Can you like just like kind of arrange so you're like looking at, I don't know, do anything to not have that happen? Because it's so distracting when you look up and you see people just like with their lights in their faces, like clearly bored. And it especially upsets me when it is the performers doing it, because I sit there and listen to every one of your performances from amazing to dismal. And I give you my attention so you at least could try to give me the same. But then again, that's why I fucking lose my mind and go crazy and get so upset. Because I usually kind of expect my respect to be repaid in turn, and I don't get it. And just got to try to take it as it comes and not whip myself up into a frenzy, you know? This next poem is called A Whirlwind Passage of Days. A whirlwind passage of days. It has been hard getting used to the new ways. Each new day is a revolving door of cabin fever and severe irritability. The idea of autonomy is deteriorating with the passage of days. Our freedoms have been lessened, chipped at, chip away by well-intentioned, for once, bureaucrats. May it come to pass that this part of our lives be forever remembered as painfully uncomfortable and seemingly interminable. A historical footnote. An impromptu joke one played by a trickster god, if not Yahweh, perhaps Loki, hath returned from the frozen wastes of Jotunheim to torment the living with his toxic mischievousness. That's right. Oh, we're almost at an hour. Wow. Time really flies by when you're ranting and raving and having a little bit of fun. It's been good to be back and to see everybody. Get your shit together. If you're going to go out, wear a mask. Keep space between people. If you're going to go to a party, be aware. Like, if you're going to go to the bathroom and wash your hands, keep in mind that when you turn the sink off, the faucet, you grab the thing. You know, I mean, that's what people grab right after they fucking took a shit. So, like, things like that, light switches, door handles, refrigerator doors, all of that stuff can be an awaiting danger zone of COVID mania. But on the other hand, don't fucking end up driving yourself insane and becoming, becoming really wrapped up in all this. You don't want to be Howard Hughes. You don't want to be Howard Hughes. I mean, you might want to be as rich as Howard Hughes, but you don't want to be like how he got at the end of his storied life. So keep writing, keep drawing. I did my 100-day writing challenge. It turned into the 500-day writing challenge, and now it's above 500. I've been writing every day since the 1st of November, like 2 years ago. And that's the one constant in my life that I can really be proud of. So you should all challenge yourselves to try to be better, to try to improve yourselves and improve the lives of those around you. And if not, well, at least you could say you tried. You will not be denied the gates to the keys of heaven. Unless you're a serial killer. All right, folks, I love you very much. This is Manzoni in the Morning with Alexander Manzoni. See you soon. Boom, boom.